11. Impossible atmosphere. If Earth was truly a globe, constantly spinning eastwards at over 1,000 miles per hour, it stands to reason that helicopters and hot air balloons should be able to simply hover over the surface of the Earth and wait for their destinations to come to them. For example, during the Red Bull Stratosphere dive, Felix Baumgartner, spending 3 hours ascending over New Mexico, should have landed 2,500 miles west into the Pacific Ocean, but instead actually landed a few dozen miles east of the takeoff point. Likewise, vertically fired cannonballs and other projectiles should fall significantly due west on an eastward spinning ball. In actual fact, however, whenever this has been tested, vertically fired cannonballs shoot upwards an average of 14 seconds ascending, 14 seconds descending, and fall back to the ground no more than 2 feet away from the cannon, sometimes directly back into the muzzle. To account for this problem, globe defenders claim that gravity somehow magically and inexplicably drags the entire lower atmosphere of the Earth in perfect synchronization up to some undetermined height where this progressively faster and faster spinning atmosphere gives way to the non-spinning, non-gravitized, non-atmosphere of supposed infinite vacuum space. NASA refuses to answer at what altitude this impossible feat allegedly happens, but the effect such a transition would have on a craft traversing it would be disastrous. It is also scientifically refuted by the simple fact that vacuums cannot exist connected to non-vacuums while maintaining the properties of a vacuum. As anyone who has punctured an aerosol can knows, 2 adjacent pressure systems, not separated by some kind of barrier or membrane, will equilibrate. If gravity magically dragged the atmosphere along with the spinning ball Earth, that would mean the atmosphere at the poles would be spinning at 0 miles per hour, while over the mid-latitudes it would be spinning around 500 miles per hour, and gradually faster until reaching the equator, where Earth and the atmosphere would be spinning together at over 1,000 miles per hour. Not only would this gravitized atmosphere increase speed from poles to the equator, but would also necessarily progressively increase speed the higher the altitude. In reality, however, the atmosphere at every point on Earth is equally unaffected by this alleged force, as it has never been measured and is proven non-existent by the ability of airplanes to fly unabated in any direction without experiencing any such atmospheric changes. Landing airplanes on such fast-moving runways, facing all manner of directions, north, south, east, west, and otherwise, would also be practically impossible. Not to mention rain, fireworks, birds, bugs, clouds, smoke, balloons, and projectiles would all behave very differently if the Earth and its atmosphere were constantly spinning. Tests were conducted in the 19th century with cannons facing each of the cardinal directions, which proved Earth and its atmosphere are not spinning. If they were, then north and south-facing cannons would establish a control, while east-firing cannonballs should fall significantly farther than all others, while west-firing cannonballs should fall significantly closer. In actual fact, however, regardless of which direction cannons are fired, the distance covered is always the same. Common sense tells us if Earth and its atmosphere were constantly spinning eastwards over 1,000 miles per hour, this should somewhere, somehow, be seen, heard, felt, or measured by someone, yet no one in history has ever experienced this alleged eastward motion. Meanwhile, however, we can hear, feel, and experimentally measure even the slightest westward breeze. Furthermore, clouds, wind, and weather patterns casually and unpredictably meander every which way, with clouds often traveling in opposing directions at varying altitudes simultaneously. This is altogether incompatible with the theory of a rapidly rotating Earth and atmosphere. 12.